was a townhouse that had been built 10 years prior, and it had taken in water from multiple locations. It was getting water on both the ground level and the second floor.
We get a lot of work where water intrusion is an issue or a problem, and most of the time it's a situation where the insured has called a contractor or another engineer and they've been unable to determine the source of water. It could be anything from the building envelope issues of leaking windows, improperly installed windows, improperly installed flashing. Could be gaps between vents and flashing. It could be lack of maintenance.
They had some experts come out to survey the situation, but were unable to determine where the water was coming from.
If you don't identify the actual source of the moisture and eliminate it from getting into the house, then you're going to have to deal with the same water intrusion issue and problems and remediation over and over again.
They had small children in the house, and a significant amount of mold had accumulated over the year.
The bigger issue really was them having to live with a damp kitchen floor, delaminating floor members, wet kitchen cabinets, constant moisture coming into the house. The damage was all based on water intrusion on one side of the house. So I think it led the insured to believe that it was from one source. In this particular case, the outside drainage system in the backyard was either under-designed, improperly designed, or incapable of handling the amount of water that the water events during that year were creating. What we did was we persuaded the client to allow us to use multiple experts to address the problem. So we used one expert to deal with the groundwater issue, and he was able to identify the cause of the groundwater issue and make recommendations for repairs. The other expert was a building envelope and construction expert, and he was able to identify all the sources of the water getting in from the ground floor up.
It's not typical that we would have two experts on one investigation, but this case required two experts to investigate.
It was also coming through the back walls of their house due to improperly installed flashing, gaps between flashing and window vents, and improperly installed windows. And it was also leaking in because it was piling up an outside storage shed that was adjacent to the back of the kitchen. So really it looked like the kitchen was the epicenter, but the water was coming from 3 or 4 different sources into the kitchen, which were the damage or improperly installed flashing, lack of maintenance, the gaps between the flashing and the vents where rainwater was just coming in and then leaking down into the walls.
We provided them with a scope to repair the faulty construction, which stopped the water intrusion on the second floor. And we provided them with a plan to regrade and move the sump pump, which stopped the water intrusion on the lower levels of the home.